Hello everybody, this is David Oaf with Preferred Utilities, and I'm going to show you how to input the initial light off data into a BurnerMate Universal. Now, this is assuming that you've set up all your servos, you've gotten to that no errors point, and you're ready to light off this burner. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to switch you guys over so that you can see my touch screen. This is the function. You can do it through the LCD, but it's really better in the touchscreen. Okay, so here's the touchscreen. We're in Boiler Overview. I'm going to hit this menu button at the bottom left. That's the hard button. And I'm going to go to Setup menu. And then I'm going to go to Servos. And this screen tells me what my zero and span limits are for all the servos I have configured. And I'm going to write this information down. So my gas valve can go from basically I'll just use 0.06 to 79.45. My FD damper can go from minus 5.2 to 75, we'll call it. And my FGR valve can go from minus 0.4 to 137 degrees. And these are all in degrees. And the reason I write those numbers down is because all of my curve points have to be within those zero and span limits. You know, for instance, if my gas valve can only go up to 79.4 degrees, if I put in a number higher than 79, the servo is never going to be able to get there. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do now is we're going to go back and we have to get in commission mode. So I press the menu button on the touchscreen again, then Setup menu, and now I'm going to go to Curve Setup, and it says commission mode is off. I'm going to push this button, and then that's going to put us in commission mode. Okay, so now we're in commission mode, and commission mode basically means that I'm a technician and my servos are going to be in manual, and it's okay because I know what I'm doing. You can't get into commission mode unless you have a password in the machine, which we did earlier. So now that we're in commission mode, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tell the BMU where I want my servos to be during purge. And the button's real easy for that. It's labeled Set Purge. And now I'm going to put in these points. I'll put them in again to show you how to do them. My gas valve is spanned basically 0 to 79 degrees, so I'm going to purge at 78. I don't want to be exactly on the limit switch. I want to be off it by a degree. I'm going to purge my FD damper at, it goes 0 to 75, so 74 is actually good. But you hit it, the little pop-up menu comes up, you hit the button you want, and then you press store. And my FGR damper goes 0 to 137 degrees, so the 136 is okay. If you fat finger one of these buttons, you know, for instance, I push 13 instead of 136, or let's say, that's a bad example. I hit 131 instead of 136, just exit out. And then you can put in whatever you want, press enter. Same thing is true when we go to, when we're actually firing. If you fat finger a button, you can just push exit and it won't take it. So now I've put in the degrees that I want all of my servos at during purge. I just push this set store button and it should say data saved. And now I'm going to set the ignition. Set menu, curve setup, set ignition. There we are. And now in this far left output column, I set my gas valve where I want for ignition, and my zero and span is 0 and 79 degrees. So I'm just going to say 1 degree. I always like to, for initial light off, start off small on the gas flow. I'll put my FD damper at 10 degrees, and I'll start out with my FGR valve mostly closed, call it 10 degrees. Okay, that all looks good. So I'm going to press store, and it should say data saved. There we go. And now I'm ready to light off the burner. So I'm going to go switch my burner switch to on. And if you watch the bottom left-hand side of the touchscreen, now it's going to walk us through the all the steps to light off a burner. And because we haven't verified any of our points, it's going to ask us to verify those when we come to each step. So I go to Setup menu, Curve Setup, Verify Purge. And the first thing the BMU does when it lights off is it does a function called servo check, where it runs the servos all the way clockwise and all the way counterclockwise, and it makes sure that the feedback matches the feedback that it got when each servo was set up. That tells it that there's nothing wrong with any of these servos. They're all getting power, they're not dead, they haven't been replaced, they're not binding up. And by the way, these touchscreen graphics, I'm working on an old touchscreen, so these are kind of the old touchscreen graphics. One of our programmers, Paul Peterkin, recently did a upgrade to these touchscreen graphics, and this portion is actually something he improved upon a bunch. But if you have the newer touchscreen graphics, they're actually easier to use than these. So we're at the purge position. Now the BurnerMate Universal is telling us purge not verified, press store to verify. So I see in the first column on the left, this is the output position of each servo. That's where they're commanded to be. And here's the feedback. It's not going to be exact because each of these servos has a 0.1 degree deadband. And the BMU logic says that as long as the servo position is within that deadband, it's going to stop trying to get it exactly perfect. And it's done that way on purpose to keep the servos from constantly hunting. So we like our purge position, so I'm going to press store, and that red light should turn to a green light, and now we're officially purging. However many number of seconds that that you set up the BMU to purge when you set up your parameters. So now, after it gets done purging, it's going to go to the ignition position, and we're going to have to verify the ignition position too. So I went through setup menu, we get to the curve setup menu here, and I'm going to press verify ignition. And we get to a very similar looking screen. And now the BMU is moving all of our servos to the ignition position. And these servos take, I think they take 25 seconds to move 90 degrees. So it's going to take us a little bit of time to get down to low fire. And you can actually watch the servos move in that FB for feedback column. And the FGR damper had the farthest to travel, so it's our slowest boat. That's the one we're waiting for. Okay, now all of our servos are within deadband of where they're supposed to be, and the BMU is telling us what to do. It says ignition not verified, press store to verify. So if I like these servo positions, I press store, that turns green, and now we're in pilot trial for ignition. So our pilot solenoids are energized, our ignition transformer is energized. I actually have a relay here that fakes in a flame proven signal. So our pilot flame was proven, and now we run through a main trial for ignition, and we get an error. And this error is perfectly normal. It says that we must have at least 3 curve points in the machine before we can get out of commission mode. And we don't have any curve points in the machine yet. That's going to be on the next video. But I'll give you a quick preview. We're going to go to curve setup, set curve points. And after this boiler is warmed up, we'll be able to take it off a low fire and set all the rest of our curve points. But that's the next video. Thanks.